Attempt to see what's going on with this Unifi Dream Machine. I have it dismantled down to its base components. Even the shell is kind of taken apart, the inner shell. Now, one thing on the first video I got wrong is that this is not a fuse. This is a safety capacitor. This is our fuse right here. And you can see that as evidenced by the FU1. In both of these components, long story short, test fine. So it's got to be something with the firmware that's causing this to not boot properly. So I'm gonna try to plug into the UART terminals down here, and we'll kind of put the meter on it to make sure what we're looking at is, what we're gonna plug into correctly. Okay, so with it powered off, I'm gonna try to find the ground. The ground should be the only port to give us some sort of reading while it's powered off, as far as I'm aware. So I'm gonna put it on 2K on the continuity. I'm gonna put the black probe on ground, the red probe on the terminals. Okay, so our first one gives us 1.3 about. Second is nothing. Third, nothing. Fourth, just a little bit of something. So this one might be ground. This one might be ground. So let's power it on. See what readings we get on our voltage setting. So I'm gonna put it to 20. Same thing, black on ground, red on the terminals. First one gives us a pretty steady 3.3. Second is 3.27. Third, 3.27. Fourth, nothing. So, kind of leading towards the last one being our ground. Just as the first one on the voltage setting is giving us a steady 3.3, and that could indicate that it's the VCC terminal. The second one is probably TX or RX. Third is TX. That's interesting. This one might be our transmit port, because you see it kind of jumping around, sending information along. Or I might have that backwards. It's either TX or RX, but we'll only plug in the RX at first, just to really be sure. So if we send voltage through the wrong one, we might brick the board or cause issue. So the first one I'm going to stay, well, this one's jumping around now too. Still steady around 3.3. I'm going to say that this one is VCC. The last one is ground, and then we'll see which one the TX and the RX is by plugging into the board. First thing we're going to want to do is identify what COM port the adapter is on, so I'm going to go into Device Manager. And then we're going to go to Ports, COM and LPT. And then we have a USB serial port on COM 11. So let's open our PuTTY. This is our terminal emulator. I'm going to do serial. then do COM11. The baud rate, and just try it on default. It's already promising, not getting any errors. If there wasn't anything to open on the COM port, it would just error out right away. So let's see if I can get both the screen and the adapter. So right now I have green attached to ground. I have red on my RX, yellow on my TX, or transmit. So I'm gonna put ground on there right away, the last one, and that's our green cable. I kind of have them bent to hopefully be easier to put in. And then we're gonna find just our RX, which should be red, and we'll try to plug into one of these ports, or terminals. Nothing yet. Let's try a power cycle and see if we get anything. Getting something on the screen. A lot of gobbledygook. Let's try to reverse that again. Put on the second terminal. Turn it on. See what we get. Nothing so far. Nothing on that one. If we do a hot swap over here, do we get anything? It gives us something. It's not really anything identifiable though, in human speak at least. I wonder if we try to do a reset though, what happens? Okay. Not really getting anything. So the issue was that my board was set to the 5-volt side. So this jumper was on these 2 pins where it should have been on the 2 pins on the right where they are now, which is the 3.3 volt side. That gave me readable information. Something else you might want to do, and this worked for me, is to change the settings so the speed on the adapter, the baud rate, is 115200. And once we do a power cycle, should see new information come up. Yep. So right now, failed to boot from the U image. Can't get kernel image. Wrong image format. No current device selected. That's cyclical redundancy check. Bad CRC. Failed to boot from EEPROM device initialization, no valid information found. So yeah, this is a bad boot image, I suppose. Can we enter any commands? We don't have our TX plugged in. So we'll kill the power. And then we'll plug in our TX cable into that second terminal. Gonna make sure they're just not touching down below. Don't want them to short each other. Let's see here. Okay, that should be good. Okay. Now let's plug it back in. See what we can do. Oh wow. She's running Alpine Linux. So if we try to do run boots, see, bad device for USB. Let's do USB info. It looks like it sees it. USB reset. Expected 18. So this is our problem child right here, I believe. It's that the Dream Machine can't properly see the boot device, which is this USB module. Don't really get any bad messages if we do USB start, but if we do run boot EMC again, EMC, can't get kernel image from the USB. Now if we try power cycle, see what happens. Still get USB errors. So maybe there's something we can visually see on the board here. Let's go ahead and turn it off. Just gonna make sure we got no power coming into the board at all before I start messing with things. Also disconnect the power supply board. Take the shield off. this over here. Try to take this heat shield off. Should be able to peek under these. Having trouble seeing exactly where the USB or storage module in question might be. I don't know if it's one of these raised blocks or if it's something under the heat shield. This is most likely the CPU. So I'm wondering if either of these could be storage, but they're also numbered in sequence, like U4, U3. So I'm kind of leaning towards like this being it, or possibly even this. We do have some like solder marks on the back here that I tried to clean up a little. Maybe that'll help. But yeah, I'm not really seeing like any other problem areas besides just that dirty solder here. So maybe it is something over here, possibly. I don't know. After doing that quick little cleaning, let's try to get it to boot. Green for ground. Green for ground. What do we got for... It's hard to see on the little board. RX is red. Should be that second post. Green for ground. And then yellow for TX, transmit. Make sure your board is on 3.3 volts. Go ahead and plug in. Start it up. Might have to open new putty terminal. Change the settings here. Serial speed or baud rate 115200. And then we'll go ahead and restart it. And we get something. USB device 0, unknown device, no current device selected, failed to boot from MMC block. Let's do like a sleep 5. And we'll do run boot EMC block. Run EMC. USB info. USB test. I don't know. USB storage. No storage device. USB start. USB storage. USB tree. Expected 18, got 8. It's still giving me trouble here. This is probably a dumb idea, but maybe I can reheat some of the solder, like all over the board. If I stick it in the 3D printer, preheat the bed only, do like 60, 65 Celsius, and then, yeah, I guess Let it fry for a little bit. Jacked it up to 100 degrees Celsius. Alright, I'll let it bake for about 5 minutes or so. Kind of flipped it around on both sides, seared the edges a little bit. Let's plug it in and see what we get. Not getting anything. Run USB info. USB start. USB reset. USB start. Run boot EMC or EMMC. Bad device USB 0. Interface 0. Yeah, no gas. Yeah. Might just be a dead board, unfortunately. Or maybe I can try to flash over it. I don't know, but it's having trouble even seeing the USB, you know, bad device USB here. So, might be time to cut our losses, unfortunately.